Hello, 3rd through 5th graders at La Pluma. Thanks for tuning into this art lesson. Today we are going to be drawing this stylized picture of a lighthouse by the ocean on a windy night. And the inspiration for this project comes from artist Charlie Harper. He was an illustrator, just super original and prolific, and he just did an amazing job of conveying animals and landscapes with really simple shapes and lines. And we call this stylized because he's not trying to do all of the exact details. He's using repeating patterns, simple lines to create an interpretation of the actual place that he's drawing or painting. Another one of Charlie Harper's paintings that I really love is these two whales. And I think he just did such a great job of using simple lines, simple shapes, repeating patterns to accomplish a really, really interesting picture of these two whales. So today we are going to take inspiration from Charlie Harper's simple shapes and lines, reduced from the actual realistic shapes and lines in nature, and we are going to get started on our landscape. Okay, so for our project we are going to start with this lighthouse, which is a cylindrical tower. They're often by the coast, and they have this beacon light at the top to help guide ships so that they don't crash into rocks or land during a storm. So for our lighthouse, we're going to do these two vertical lines. The lighthouse is slightly tapered or smaller in width at the top, and then it gets slightly wider as it goes. So I'm just gonna have a piece of paper and a marker. Later you can come back and add color like I did. I'm gonna do a vertical line that just goes slightly out, and then a matching vertical line that goes slightly out that direction. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We talk about this every time, but you can see my line kind of waves a little bit there, no problem. Especially with art that is stylized, it is the artist's choice how to portray the lines and the shapes. So there's really no right or wrong. All right, we are going to close the top with a little curved line because this is a cylinder. This tower is cylindrical, like I said. We're gonna do a slight curve there to show that it's round, and a slight curve at the bottom too. I didn't really do that here, but I thought to do it here. And then we're gonna add a door, very tall door, and a window. And then on top is gonna be this beacon light. So I'm just going to add another curved line and two vertical lines there just to make it kind of like a little metal holder. And then I'm gonna do a box inside of that, which houses the light with an X, almost like a lantern, and a domed top. And then I'm going to just finish the sides of my lighthouse, connect these lines across, and do an outer dome above my lantern light. Okay, if you notice here on the lighthouse, I've extended some of the lines past the outer edges of the object, and that's just for fun. It's just to be an artist's interpretation. So I'm doing curved lines, just barely curved to show the roundness of the cylinder. For the door, I'm gonna pick up and continue on the other side, but I just extended those lines a little bit past the outer border just to make it interesting. Okay, so there is our lighthouse, and now we are ready for this. We're gonna draw this island line here. The lighthouse isn't probably on an island, it's probably on more of a peninsula. It's like right on the edge of the land, but it's not completely surrounded by water. So I went about a third of the way up. So if this is halfway, I went a little bit below that and just did a line going out to the edge of the paper. And then I'm gonna not draw it, but just kind of pretend that it goes behind the lighthouse and then curves around and down and off to the side there. Okay, for this sand or dirt or rocky land, I'm just doing little curved lines. I'm not adding a lot of detail. If I really added all the shading and wanted to make it look realistic, that would be a different style of art. But this type of art is very simplistic. It's reduced to basic shapes and lines. Okay, so now we have our lighthouse and we have our island, and we are going to work on these waves. Let's do the top wave, which is this top curved line. I'm just gonna go across the paper, and it really is up to you how you curve it. This water is behind the lighthouse, so I picked up my marker and I didn't draw on the lighthouse to show that the lighthouse is blocking that. And now I'm just gonna kind of go and add more curvy lines branching off. And I want it to look like waves or just like kind of wild water. It almost seems like maybe it's a storm. I hadn't totally planned that when I was drawing it, but then once it was drawn, I thought that it should be nighttime and that it looked like a storm. I'm not matching my curves like I did. I'm just kind of doing my own ideas here. Okay, and I'm liking that. Here I extended the lines of the waves onto the island, and I really liked the way that looked. It kind of looked like the water crashing onto the shore. So I'm gonna go back and extend each of these lines a little bit onto the shore to kind of show that the water is crashing onto the land. Okay. We are ready to do so this is the foreground or the front of our landscape. This is the middle ground, and then the sky will be in our background or the farthest away in our landscape. So we're gonna work on our middle ground now, which is the wind blowing. And so I'm just gonna come up here a little bit, like kind of halfway between the top of the wave and the top of the page. And I am going to do another curved line, skip over my lighthouse. Okay, there we go. And I did 4 spirals here, and these are just supposed to symbolize the wind blowing. So I'm gonna, I made mine much thicker here than I did here, which is fine. Every time I draw this, it would look different, and that's totally okay. I'm probably gonna make some changes to my wind here since I have a lot more space than I did this time. So I'm gonna do a spiral here, and then I'm gonna do a spiral going the other way here. So I went forward spiral here, backward spiral there. And then I'm gonna do one here. Ooh, I really like the way it looks like the wind is kind of moving up like that. Do a spiral there. I feel like I need one right here. And then let's do some on this side as well. All right, I like that. I am going to add little dots behind my spirals, and in my mind, those are kind of the wind blowing the grains of sand around along the coast. But it's also just to be an interesting pattern. This project was kind of reminding me of our turtle project that we did, where we drew the turtle and divided it into different sections, and then we did a different pattern in each section. This is a similar idea, but using a landscape as opposed to an animal. Or in this case, a seascape, which is just a landscape, but on the water. Okay, we are ready for our sky here. It was funny, I walked away from my project when I was planning it, and then when I came back, I was like, oh, this kind of looks like Starry Night a little bit. Van Gogh's Starry, Starry Night. I don't know if you're familiar with that painting, but we have it hanging in the art classroom. It's probably one of the most famous paintings in the world, but the sky has a lot of these little swirlies. So I kind of thought that was fun. I hadn't intended that, but I like it. Okay, so this is more like stormy skies. That's why I colored it purple and black. But it has the same type of spiral idea that the wind has below it, but maybe like looser or more spread out. So I'm gonna do a spiral like that, but I'm not gonna keep wrapping it in. I want a looser spiral. So just a little bit there and then stop. I'm gonna do one going this way. And then I'm gonna go back and add some lines in here to show, this is supposed to kind of signify the wind that is blowing. Okay, I really like that. And now I'm gonna add some more on this side. I didn't intend for this to be kind of like a moon or something, but that is could be and would be cool, and you're welcome to do that. So I'm doing like kind of a circular shape there, but it's a little bit blocked by the tower or the lighthouse. And then a circular shape around that. And then I'm going to do an even larger circular shape around that. And some more wind blowing with lines over here. Just gonna I'm adding in a little bit more detail in this pattern just to make it more interesting to show the movement in the sky. Just adding more dashed lines. It's funny because every time you do an art project or you draw something, you come at it with a little bit different of an idea or a mood, so it might come out slightly different, which is what's happening here, and I love that. Okay, so I am finished drawing my Stylized Lighthouse Seascape, and it is ready to be colored. On this colored version, I used a bunch of different blues and even like a purplish color, and then I did brown for the island or the peninsula. I wanted to do red and white stripes for my lighthouse with the light shining at the top to warn the ships, and then this is probably like where the lighthouse keeper has his office or bedroom, because people actually lived in the lighthouses. And then I used gray for my wind and purple and black for my sky. You are welcome to use any colors that you would like to color in your seascape. All right, thank you, Charlie Harper, and thank you everybody for watching, and I really appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well. Bye-bye.